How much video can I take before this runs out of memory? Oh, apparently. Uh, Less than 14 minutes. Okay. Uh, this is my bright idea. I can build a cabin out of pallets. So it's just pallets. It's pallets that are laid on their sides. I got an uncle-in-law that gave me access to the pallets. My blood-related uncle is letting me stay at his old place. My grandfather owns it, and there's no building codes here, so I can do stuff like this. As you can see, walls aren't supposed to bend that way. It's half preventing the rain with aluminum tin sheets, and half preventing the rain by the worst wood shingles job anybody's ever seen. I wanted to cover as much tarp as I possibly can, because that's what happens to tarp whenever you just leave it lying around in the sunlight. That's just sun. Nobody ripped that on purpose. There's a guy named Derek Dietrichson on RelaxShacks.com that has an A-frame cabin. I wanted to build it first. I bought the plans and everything, and I was just like, I could build it cheaper out of pallets. And here I am, like 2+ years after trying to build it. These are Tough-Tex panels. You can't really get anything cheaper. The way that they get away with it being very cheap is by skipping this part. This part's the expensive part. Actually, like filling up the space in between these corrugated pieces, that's the expensive part. The securings aren't too cheap either. They're also pretty expensive. And then they also don't follow the instructions on these either. But I assume that they actually use these, because not using them has effects, as we'll see here in a second. I kept taping the seams. I just figured that, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And this is part of the effects here. And this is me trying to fix the leaning wall. Hope it doesn't fall on my head and kill me. This is patching a big hole, and it's literally just taped there. I need to rub rubber cement all over all these bits and pieces and get some flex tape or something. As you can see, this is why I was taping the seams, is because they're massive, and the pallets don't have enough spaces for me to screw into to make them not do that. If this was any other way of doing this, traditional stick framing or whatever. So I wasn't comfortable with them the way that they were, so I kept trying to put additional things in to secure it, and all it does is crack it and make problems. So some of this damage and cracks comes from stuff like this. Whenever I'm uncomfortable following the instructions and try to do something extra, it always bites me in the butt. Like I said, I'm trying to cover the tarp, because again, that's what happens to tarps. That whole thing was covered, and now it's all ridiculous. More of me trying to fix the leaning walls. And here's my attempt at wood shingles. So even more of an eclectic mix between wood shingles and a bunch of other garbage. I tried a single slanted roof, and I could never get it right. And really, I didn't get this right either, but it's better than the single slanted roof. You know, a single slope, a roof that's high on one side, a roof that looks like this, you know, from the side. So instead, I tried to do a non-single slanting roof. My oldest aunt asked me, "Well, why don't you just get a tree that's straight like this that will hold all the other trees?" Well, if I could get a tree that's straight like this and will hold it up in the air, then I would just get only those. But I didn't get any of them. So over the tarp, I put tar paper, and even that, just over time. And we got tar paper shacks, but they didn't last too long. More seams. And then I started putting these on wrong. I'd put on the top ones before I put on the bottom ones. I was impatient. I wanted to cover certain spots, and so that led to this mess. There's no water damage on this side, and I don't understand why. I knew that the cheapest and most effective way of cooling the structure would be with a window unit, so it needed at least one window that opened and closed. Doesn't even have a handle on this door. And that's an interior door, not an exterior door. So, look at all this. This is the shredded up styrofoam. I was keeping my middle aunt's cat in here, and she made a daring escape, so. Anyways. So, as you can see, there's the bones of the structure. It's nothing but pallets on their side. Pallets are not designed to be put on their sides. The structural support is really vertically if you're going to do that, but it's whatever. I first wrapped the whole thing in plastic wrap, in pallet wrap. I wrapped it in pallet wrap, and I did that because my modern self-reliance on YouTube made a $25 cabin, and so I figured I would do that first. But it's nearly impossible to get it in a way where, I don't know, it's nearly impossible to get it in a way where it overlaps properly on the roof. And so I could never get it to do it on the roof. So that was a major pain. So if I could do it again, I would do it the way that TA Outdoors did it, which was to prepare each individual section. So I would prepare each pallet. As you can see, it was really easy to take the shredded styrofoam and make it fill in all the gaps on the floor. That was easy. So if I would have done that with all the pallets, then I wouldn't be having so much trouble doing it all over the place. My uncle, my blood-related uncle, he completely abandoned the place, and so I found like a cabinet or something, and it had this weird shaped piece of glass. I don't know what this is. It was like a cabinet or something, I don't know. And then I decided to design a thing around it, and it opens and closes, and there's this huge gap here because this is a pallet and not proper building materials, but the pallets are free. Like I said, this was the remnant of my original design where I was raising the logs on this side by, you know, having a log over here and then not having a log on the opposite side. That way this side would be raised and the other side would be lower. A single slope, you know, that looked like that. And yeah, that didn't work because these things can't hold their own weight. And of course, I cut down skinny trees because I'm not Mariusz Pudzianowski or the strongest man in the world, and I can't lift this crap by myself. Yeah, I put all this together by myself, by the way, over the period of over 2 years, so don't be too impressed. I drilled holes in the entire... I drilled through the entire thing and then stuck like random sticks in there, which is a way of log pinning. But normally it's not this awful and terrible. The professionals do it in a different way. Whenever you stack logs and you stack one and the other, and then you stack the two like on top, and then you stack some parallel and the other way, and you stack them a little bit closer to the center each time, that makes for a sloping roof. It's exactly what Townsend's did on one of their videos, so that's what I did whenever I tore down the entire roof and then redid it. As you can see, I put not house wrap, but I think it's house wrap, and I put that up there underneath the tarp that has, you know, the tin on top of that. And finally it quit leaking. But yeah, so I gotta finish shredding up the styrofoam with this styrofoam shredder, which, as you can see, is an electric lawnmower with a thing zip tied over it to protect my hands whenever I throw styrofoam in there. And then I can put them into the slots here and hold them in with cardboard, and then use a little expanding foam to, you know, fill all the gaps, and then it should be decent insulation. And then below there I won't be able to use cardboard because the water will seep up from the ground because it's level with the ground out there, so I'm going to have to use something else, probably more wood or whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's it. And then I'll put a couple of fence posts on the outside to help prevent further damage to the walls that are falling down. And then it will be good enough for now, I guess. Like I said, it was mostly free. Those Tuftex panels are $16 a piece, but that's about it.